Hello there, and welcome to the Senate Podcast. We're on episode number 6 today. We're going to be talking all about the Game Awards. And joining me is Andy, the Wild Card Smith.
Hey, that's me. Glad to be back again. How you doing?
I'm extremely excited for the Game Awards, but also the fact that we're turning the Game Awards into a game. But before then, like I said, the Senate Podcast, we're going to be releasing episodes weekly, hopefully on Tuesdays, but sometimes when there's special events like this, we might have an extra podcast coming out, or the YouTube channel has the Senate Podcast plus the live sessions.
Oh.
We're actually on other platforms, though, all the podcast ones like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and a few others. But those are the main three. We're the biggest on Apple Podcasts, but Spotify has been catching up. I check all the time. So now Spotify and Apple Podcasts are almost equal. They're like fighting each other. One episode Spotify will be higher, and the next Apple will be higher. So
okay, it's going to be the podcast awards soon.
It's going to be the podcast wars. That's what we're going to call it.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, like which one's going to be the better podcast provider or something like that.
Which is the best host. And if you don't follow the Senate Podcast on Twitter, go to Twitter at the Senate Podcast and follow also my personal Twitter, because I post updates on there and tweet updates on there. And one thing I recently tweeted was, we're getting a lot of listeners on here, and hopefully we can keep getting more so that I can get sponsored by Anchor and all that. Because that's something interesting that, is going to be able to bring in some kind of, albeit small revenue that I could actually put back into the show. And I guess while we're on housekeeping, I have an idea for a second show. The problem is with the RSS feeds, specifically, things like Apple Podcasts require, I think, a subscription for you to have multiple shows or something like that. All I know is it's, it takes more resources, obviously, to make a second show. Being sponsored would be cool because that's obviously revenue that you could invest back in the show to just make it better. And we're kind of rushing through this because this is going to be a packed episode talking about games. So before we talk about the games, though, this is where the fun begins.
Here we go.
The rules of the game. And the game being the Game Awards. The game.
Right, the game.
The game. Maximum of 2 picks per category for us.
Mm-hmm.
2 points per pick that end up winning the category.
Okay.
So what that means is your one pick is your personal pick, and your other pick would be the pick that you think will win the category. If you double down and your personal pick is the one you think the overall votes and the judges will ultimately pick, you gain double points.
Okay.
There are wild cards. 3 wild cards consisting of announcements or presentations. Presentations or announcements not yet revealed or unanimously agreed upon to be valid wild card picks.
Yeah.
We have a high value wager of 5 points, a mid value wager of 3 points, and a low value wager of 1 point. And then points will be tallied after the show and revealed during the next episode.
Okay.
So just to explain, right before we get into the categories here, the picks themselves, let's say a category has 6 nominees, you can pick up to 2. Or if you decide to double down, you'll get double the points.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you choose to pick 2 different nominees. Obviously, you can only win 1 or none. So you either get 2 points or 0 points. But if you double down, you decrease your chances of picking the right nominee.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do end up picking the right one, you get double the points.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then at the end, we'll just go through our 3 wildcard picks and the values of them.
All right.
All right. Let's start it off with drum roll. Let me see if I can actually pull up a drum roll. Here we go.
Yeah, that'd be better.
Most anticipated game. And I'm going to throw it over to you because I'm going to read the description and then I'm going to have you go ahead and give me your reasoning to what you believe the most anticipated game is. So, recognizing and announced game that has
Demonstrably.
That is a weird word. Wow.
Not necessarily.
This is my first time saying that out loud. I'm going to restart and not edit this out. Recognizing an announced game that has I can't even pronounce it.
Do you want me to read
Demonstrably.
it? I'll read it.
You read it.
Okay. Recognizing an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward.
You didn't even sound right with you saying it, but
okay.
That is literally a made up word, Jeff.
Honestly, that's the first time I've kind of heard it too. But yet, demonstrably, like demonstrating,
demonstrably.
Yeah,
that's how I wanted to say it.
Yeah.
All right, demonstrably illustrated potential.
I think that also works too.
We're illiterate.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think is the most anticipated game, and how did you come to that conclusion?
All right. Well, personally, I kind of am leaning towards Tears of the Kingdom, that sequel for Breath of the Wild. I mean, the original was just such a high-praised game, and although the ending was good, it kind of left wanting for more. So when they announced that they were making the sequel, it's just been, everyone's eyes have been waiting for, to the social media for any type of updates, anything that would be like, anything new coming out. Like, people talk about it every year for, like, major stuff, E3, this. It's just really big stuff. That'd be my personal pick. However, I kind of think Hogwarts Legacy is probably going to be the one that actually ends up being picked, only because I'm seeing a lot more buzz overall on social media for Hogwarts Legacy, especially for like games for pre-order and just different things showing up on search engines and stuff like that.
Very interesting. I'm writing it down now. Keeping track so that I can tally it up and we can see how bad you lose. So
okay, right. We're going to go with that.
I had a similar thought process, but we ended up in different places.
Oh.
My personal pick was Hogwarts Legacy.
Okay.
I am not a fan of Harry Potter, but that's not because I don't like Harry Potter. It's just I've never really have gotten into the IP in any way whatsoever. Games, movies, books, whatever, what have you. However, Hogwarts Legacy, all of the trailers I've seen, it's made it basically my most anticipated game. Like, out of all of the nominees right here, I want to play Hogwarts Legacy the most. So that's just my personal one. However, the one I think is going to be the most anticipated is Starfield.
Oh, all right.
And that's because, like you said, for Hogwarts Legacy, all the buzz you see for it, that is the feeling I get when I see Starfield on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I would say, of course, The Legend of Zelda, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, would be the most anticipated. But there hasn't really been anything going around social media because they haven't really announced anything.
Yeah.
So it's very possible that, obviously, Legend of Zelda, that's huge. It could definitely be most anticipated. But I really think all of the Bethesda Game Studios fans are going to come out for Starfield.
Yeah, and just by looking at the poster that they have for it on the website, kind of gives me like an Anthem type of vibe. And that was another like highly anticipated
That was a
game.
very highly anticipated.
I mean, I'm sure it's completely different, but I'm just looking at it and the first thing comes to mind is like, that kind of reminds me of something like from Anthem. And that was way back.
Oh, yeah, that's blasphemous. But, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to Best Adaptation. Recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. I will throw it over to you for this one too. I think since I'm the host, I can just do what I want. So
yeah, exactly. I'm just the pawn. You tell me what to do, and I dance like a monkey.
Yes, I dance, monkey, dance.
Okay.
All right, I gotta cut that out.
Yeah. All right. Getting back on track. So best adaptation. I The only one I'm really not too familiar with is Cyberpunk, so I'm going to admit that. But I think the Cuphead show kind of is my personal pick. I've seen clips on YouTube, and I've just seen like the overall direction of it. It really touches a lot on the universe, obviously, like 1920s esque cartoon style. And even though the game is like a shoot 'em up, it really kind of feels like the characters are intertwined. So I would go with that as my personal pick. As
Okay.
far as what I actually expect to be picked, it's probably going to be, it's a tough one, but I think it's most likely going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It has, all the core elements. I mean, obviously Knuckles was in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, but for the sake of how he's introduced character type and all that stuff, I think, even Tails also, just how it's, how they're portrayed, and even Eggman's mustache is more prominent in this one than the first movie.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, so that's what you're saying for the faithful and authentic, adaptation.
Yeah, and just we all know the Sonic Nightmare from when they first showed Sonic the Hedgehog live action, but he's come a long way, and I feel like that would be the one people would resonate the most with and be like, yeah, this definitely did the game justice. And I think even the voice actor / actress for Tails is actually from Adventure 2.
Yes.
But don't quote me on that.
Well, I don't know if she's from Adventure 2. I know she's from the games though.
Yeah,
one of the
definitely
games.
from the games in particular. Like
I should know that, but
yeah.
So that's funny because even with the best adaptation, we have similar mindset. We just landed in different,
right?
as on different nominees. So my personal pick is Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Right.
Probably just because it's Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole episode in itself.
Yeah, bit biased, but okay.
A bit biased, a little bit. Although I like you were saying, I think it is a very, very, very faithful adaptation. Even though they had the humans in it, like Sonic's parents or whatever.
Right.
The fact they introduced Tails, Knuckles, and then this Eggman, like you were saying, with his appearance, and they added the Master Emerald, and Supersonic. Very faithful adaptation. That's my personal pick. However, I have another pick for what I think will win.
Okay.
And I think it will be Arcane League of Legends.
Yeah. Now, I kind of find that funny. So as a little note for everyone listening in, we omitted everything esports related. And obviously, League of Legends is a very big esports thing. So I kind of want to hear why you're leaning towards Arcane in particular.
Because mostly, it's actually really close between Arcane and the Cuphead show. I think you actually might get it with the Cuphead show.
Maybe.
But I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm not going to. I thought about that after the fact, after I made my decision. And the reason I made my decision for Arcane is because it is a great adaptation to another entertainment medium. So basically what I'm saying is, even though League of Legends is a very prestigious esports game, when it goes to a different medium, as in TV, it's a Netflix series. So as in animated series, I guess you could say, the medium of animated series, it is, I think it's one of the highest rated out of all of these right here. I know it was definitely, making the rounds on social media as one of the best adaptations for any, video game property ever. So out of pure, the amount of love I just see for it, and out of pure hype for it that I see, I'm going with that as the popular vote.
Yeah, and just before we switch to the next one, I will say this series is more like a prequel type of thing. So everything that takes place is in one of the main cities in the universe, and obviously you could see the characters there. They're kind of like a backstory into developing who they end up being in the game.
So I definitely think that in the Cuphead are probably the two. I don't know, Sonic has a chance, but anyways, always fun to speculate on adaptations.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what the podcast is about. It's about all forms of pop culture.
Yeah.
Which is, Netflix series to movies to comics to games to whatever.
It's how we interpret it.
Yes. Next category, best debut indie.
Ooh, I love this category so much.
We love the debut indies. Well, we love the indies and all of everything that consists of that. So for the best debut game created by a new independent studio, what's your pick?
All right. So I admittedly know most of these except for Norco. I kind of had to look that one up, but I'm just going to omit that from my decision making. I personally love Vampire Survivors.
Oh, okay. You're playing it. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've played it a good bit. I love the concept. Obviously, this is the game that's been bringing up the trend of, what do you want to call it? Like roguelite arena shooters, I guess is the best way to put it.
It looks so much fun.
It is, and it's honestly a steal, like for $5, I think, and for all the content you get out of it, just a lot of replayability. I think this is going to be best debut because, like I said, this kind of debuts the archetype for, the games that they have, like on Google Play App Store. I think it's called like Survivor.io or something like that, but it's just making waves of like an influence. But I will say, I think my pick though is probably going to be Neon White. Now, Neon White is a game made by people who have speedrunning as the core mechanic. And to go over the basis of the game, you get cards that can either be ammo or movement types. And you have to kill enemies, but you also have to get through, like you kill the enemies and then you reach the goal. And you have to do as fast as you can. You have like ghost racing, which is a really cool mechanic. I think I pick Neon White as my, actual what I expect to win, just because, speedrunning is a very big thing in the community. And I feel like that has a lot more traction than, say, roguelites, showing up.
That is a very reasonable decision. I mean, reasonable, take on that. I wish I would have played Vampire Survivors. Maybe that would have changed my mind and my pick. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to double down. Our first double down.
Okay. Let's hear it.
So I'm doubling down on Stray.
Okay, that's a very good pick. A lot of people have talked about that. I never personally played it, but I just heard very good things about the story and just the experiences that people had playing it. Like, you're just a cat, but like you become immersed and you feel like everything the cat goes through, you go through.
Yes, so there's exactly, and that's one of the reasons that I picked it, was because debut indie, what is the best debut game created by a new indie studio? Yeah. Blue 12 really, really knocked it out of the park with this one. Because of the storytelling, through environmental storytelling, through the emotions of cats and robots and whatnot, whatever in the game.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, that cyberpunk feel of it.
Yeah.
Also, just the performance and fidelity of this game. It's like a AAA game. It blew my mind. Mostly because it's 3D. I think that something like Tunic is also very refined, very, beautiful in its fidelity, performs very well. I think Tunic will get looked over, unfortunately. I think that's a great vote, but I had to just double down on Stray.
Yeah, and just to touch up on Tunic real quick, I like the concept of it. A spiritual successor to, Legend of Zelda as an obvious,
Link's Awakening or something like that.
Something like that, like early Link games. But, yeah, there's just a lot of other games that I've just saw in here that I feel like would hit that market better in terms of like, okay, this is what did the most impactful presentations and stuff like that. Tunic's amazing, don't get me wrong, but the other games just kind of stick a little better.
I completely agree with you. Now that's just debut indie. We got best indie coming up later on, but our next category is content creator of the year.
Okay, let's stomach through this one.
Yes. So for a streamer or content creator who has made an important and positive impact on the community in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like me to go ahead and get it out of the way?
Doesn't matter, however you want to look at it.
I put Carl Jacobs.
Okay. I can see that. Definitely.
Now, yes.
Yeah.
The reason I put Carl Jacobs is because he's the only one that I've watched out of all of these people.
Yes. Now, I actually had to look up these people. I've never heard of any of these people ever before. And when you think content creator, the first thing you should be thinking is like someone who is prominent. And I'm sure I'm probably in a niche corner of Twitter or whatever, but needless to say, I think personal pick's probably Carl Jacobs also, just because I found out he did, Smash Bros. Content, and I can resonate with that. I feel like of the people here, I like him the most. But in terms of who's actually going to be picked, it's probably going to be Nibelian.
We have the same one. Okay.
Yeah, it just happens. But, unfortunately, I feel like the awards is going to go to regurgitating content and just letting people read it. And that's basically what I'm getting out of him. And I'm just going to rant about this really quickly, not too long. But
go ahead.
These other candidates aren't exactly who I would pick. I mean, Ludwig, he just honestly, I forgot. Oh yeah, no, that's Nobu. Nobu is like the Portuguese Fortnite player. QT Cinderella is just like a co-host for people streaming, and I think Ludwig's in a relationship with QT Cinderella, so they're just like, I guess they just watch people. Is what I'm getting at.
Don't ask me.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of the categories I feel like they really botched it. I mean, they could have done better people. I mean,
they could have, definitely.
I would have been less upset if they picked someone like XQC or Ninja. I would have at least been like, okay, I recognize them. That's a content creator. But this is bottom of the barrel, in my personal opinion.
Ruthless, but I agree. And the definition, who has made an important and positive impact on the community in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, for Nibelian, I think he is going to be the popular vote because of the impact he's left on the community, not necessarily because of the content he's creating, because let's be honest, my tweets are just as content filled as his.
Sure, and basically the impact being he paraphrases so that you could just read it easier. Like, oh, here's a
if that's the case,
article?
Wario 64 should have been nominated and won, because Wario 64 is like Nibelian, but way better.
Yeah, and
clip it.
I think we should just skip this.
Clip it.
We'll just move to the next category.
Clip it. All right. Next category. Best multiplayer. For outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform.
Something I can respect a lot better.
Okay, so that means you can go ahead and start it off.
Yeah, sure. So best multiplayer. I mean, each of these games have a community of their own for the most part. So I guess when you put the category best multiplayer, you have to look at what has like the most traction to it. I will go with, actually, this might be a double down for me. I think I'm going to double down on Modern Warfare 2.
Okay.
I've been playing that on and off, like maybe like 2 hours before I go to bed, but it's something simple. You just shoot people. I think that kind of fits like the mold of multiplayer, because you have literally playing against other people, randoms that either going to make it or break it. You can group up with people. They've recently added Warzone and Dead Man's Zone, so there's definitely like big map content too. The other candidates do have their own quirks for their own communities. Like, I will say Overwatch 2 is kind of an exception because it's also, team based, but Modern Warfare 2, I just feel like kind of hits the whole multiplayer online, and they even have co-missions too, less multiplayer for Warzone. I think this hits all the marks.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm also just going to double down on MW2. It's my personal pick, and I wasn't sure if I was going to double down on it, but reading the description, outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, you can argue that Overwatch 2, the design is the same as Overwatch 1. It really is.
It's
Splatoon
polished.
3,
I will say that it's pretty much the same, but to give them some credit, they do polish and balance some things.
Well, that's like Splatoon 3. It's very similar to Splatoon 2, except it's kind of balanced and polished. But what is it doing different with design? And you can say the same thing for Modern Warfare 2, but then when you go down to including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, I mean, you don't get that with Multiverses or with TMNT Shredder's Revenge,
unfortunately,
specifically for best multiplayer.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Let me mark that down. We both doubled down on that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the first double downs on both of our parts.
Yeah, that's a double. It's a double down.
That'd be like a quadruple down.
Quadruple down on it. Okay.
All right.
Let's see if we quadruple down on this category: best sports/racing.
Okay.
For the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing game. All right, what's your pick?
Good. I am not versed in sports games. I mean, they do have, like, I guess how to put this? They do have their unique games, and like obviously Gran Turismo, NBA, FIFA, F1, and Ollie World, they're all sports, and I think I'm going to just start with what I expect to win.
Okay.
And that's probably going to be FIFA 23. I mean,
okay.
Sports is one of those things that has an international level, and even though it's not that popular in, I guess North America in particular, in the rest of the world, it's a very big thing. Like soccer, instead of, they differentiate football with football americano, which is like, that's their thing. But
is that soccer. Okay? So did you say that's your personal, or
that's what I expect to win? I just said that's one. Personal is probably Ollie World.
Okay.
I like the style of it, and it's something. The skateboarding theme just kind of looks nicer. I mean, the other ones require a big investment in like knowing the teams, knowing the players, knowing the actual combat, like not the combat. I'm sorry, but the actual tactics in playing them. Ollie World just seems like a simple pick up and skate kind of game, especially with the art style that it suggests. So personal pick, Ollie World, and what I expect to win, FIFA.
Solid choices. I agree with you on Ollie World. That is actually the one I think is going to win. That's not my personal one.
Ooh.
But I'm throwing a kind of a wild card out there because I was hearing some negative things about FIFA 23. Also, I heard nothing about F1 22. And then 2K23, I've heard next to nothing about. So
sure.
My wild card pick is actually going to be not necessarily my wild card pick, but my shot in the dark pick is going to be Ollie World.
Yeah, that's probably a better wording. We'll save wall pick for later.
Yes, that's going to be interesting. But my personal is Gran Turismo 7.
Oh, okay.
Really, because I've been really, really wanting to get GT7, but I've been waiting for the holiday season to get it.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of game, not necessarily, I like arcade racers more than anything, but GT7 looks like a sim racer that I can get into, and I've played other Gran Turismos and I love them, but I'm just going to go with GT7 as my personal and Ollie World as the popular vote.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing how this one plays out.
Yeah, it's always interesting when it comes to racing, because if you remember last year, there was a big controversy over Forza not being nominated for Game of the Year. and it was a big, like I said, controversy over racing games not getting respect. So we'll see what happens this year.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to next category. Best sim/strategy game. Best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform.
Okay. Yep.
All right.
I'll take the initiative. I'll just beat you to it. But personal pick is probably got to be Total War Warhammer 3. Now,
okay.
I've never played 3 in particular, but I've played 1 and 2. And one of the things they have in like air quote early access right now is their big mega map, and I think it's called Immortal Empires. But basically, that's like the loyalty program, if you want to call it that. If you own any of the content from the previous Total War Warhammer games, it will contribute into that corresponding game. So right now, if I were to pick this game up, anything that I had from Total War Warhammer 1 and 2 would be bundled in there as available, I guess, factions and commander units. So that's personal pick. When I think as far as like actual vote, this was a toss-up, but I think it's probably got to be Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. The only reason why I say that is because in terms of strategy, I feel as if that's going to have the most people invested in it. I mean, obviously it's for kids, but you got to consider.
Have you played the first one?
Bits and pieces of it. I mean,
that is a very violent game.
Yeah,
made for the most hardcore of adults.
Probably. I mean, the presentation doesn't look like it, but I'm sure you would probably get like, oh wait, this is more gritty than I expected it to be.
No, it's awesome. It's a honestly, great series. Rabbids mixed with Mario for that tactics type gameplay. That's actually my personal pick.
Oh, okay.
Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope.
Yeah, because it kind of gives me like that Fire Emblem type of positioning that I think is a really cool, approach to like combat.
Honestly, it's a great strategy game.
Yeah.
And lately I've been getting into strategy games, except all of these nominees, I'm not really familiar with any of them, except for Warhammer. That obviously rings a bell.
Mm-hmm.
Very prestigious series. So that's going to be my popular vote. I think Warhammer 3 is going to take it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to that. I will say honorable mention would have to be 2 Point Campus because this is the sequel to 2 Point Hospital.
Hospital, yeah. That's on Game Pass.
Yeah, so this definitely gives you more.
I wonder if 2 Point Campus is on Game Pass.
It could be, but it's hard to say. It's probably going to, bundle into that at some point.
At some point, yeah, because that 2 Point series or whatever you want to call it, the 2 Point.
It's very successful. Like, I mean, the people in that it's like more of a management type of game, so I can't really. I mean, it's strategy because you're still thinking, but I think of strategy as more of like, I guess, tactical, combat. But that's just my biased viewpoint on it.
Yeah, I was really interested in jumping into it. I think I actually downloaded it on my Xbox, but unfortunately, I hope it loses so we get points.
Yeah, we'll see. Yep. Points for us. I'll take it.
All right. Next category, best family game. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform.
Yep. I think we'll just beat around the bush and I'll go ahead and pick.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Best family. This is interesting because I see family play as, literally something anyone can kind of pick up and get into. Now, all of these are family friendly, no doubt. Well, I'd say Star Wars is kind of iffy, but personal pick is actually, it's probably going to be personal pick Splatoon 3.
Okay, that threw me off.
Yeah.
Was not expecting that.
Yeah, and then I think Nintendo Switch Sports is going to be the one actually.
That actually threw me off too. This is the first one we have not picked the same, or at least at all. We've each picked a different one.
Yeah.
In now both of our decisions. Go ahead.
Splatoon 3. My reasoning on that. It's just because the concept is innocent enough, just shooting paint, but you do have people who can avidly, pick it up and be competitive with it. I don't know what the tournament community is like on this, but just it's a shooter game just with paint. So it definitely could be picked up by pretty much anyone, and it's simple enough. You're just covering the ground and trying to mark as much of your color as possible. So it's not like it's inaccessible for anyone. It's I think a nice approach to like how anyone could pick it up, people competitive and casual. But I feel like Nintendo Switch Sports fits the mold of, your grandma, your mom, your dad, your little sibling could pick up and play Nintendo Switch Sports. That's how I see that one being like the winner.
You're right. Very reasonable. I'm mad because after hearing that, I want to switch to Switch Sports. However, my personal one is Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
Interesting.
I definitely do not think that's going to win.
No, and I like it. I played through it. It's a lot of fun, but in the family play, kind of has to. I feel like fits a certain mold. But go on.
Yes, but I'm very biased when it comes to that. Obviously,
right.
The Senate,
not yet.
So that's self-explanatory. Now the popular vote. You won me over with Switch Sports, but I'm not going to cheat.
Yeah.
The one I think is Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Okay, I mean, that's still a fun one. I could see, like, a parent picking it up with the child, maybe doing the experience with that. That's definitely a reasonable pick.
Mostly because of the IP. Kirby is obviously great for, a family. Also, the multiplayer in it. You can actually play local co-op as Waddle Dee for the, second player.
Sure.
So I think that also fits the family play for the co-op. But you're right. I think it's going to be Switch Sports. But we'll see. All I know is one of us is going to get 2 points for this category.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely cover a lot of bases. It's definitely like a more diverse range.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to narrow down.
Yeah.
So, moving on to Best Fighting Game. For the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat.
Yeah, and there is a couple good ones on here. Now, I'm nowhere near as experienced with fighter games as I'm sure a lot of our viewers here are. There are people in this community who, if I boot up casual, competitive, not even competitive, but like a casual 1v1, I'd get smoked in not even 10 seconds. But getting back on track, personal pick is, I gotta say Sifu. I like the style of it. Yeah. It just fits like, it's head-to-head combat. I mean, it's not the mold of, multiplayer fighting, but when you think about it, Sifu has a solid fighting core to it, and if that doesn't match the description, I don't know what does.
Now, let me stop you right there, because I wanted to pick Sifu, but this is the way I interpreted it.
Yeah.
So let's see if you can change my mind. For the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat, I was thinking of player versus player.
Yeah.
Which is Sifu doesn't have.
No, it's single player Sifu. Yeah, that's the biggest thing on that.
No, I believe it's probably the best fighting game. Maybe. I wonder if it's nominated for action. I forget.
Maybe.
But yeah, I do. I agree with you. So what's your popular vote?
Popular vote is probably got to be Multiverses. I think is just the one that people are resonating with. I mean, I think from what I've seen, the tag system plays like a very solid part. Basically kind of the DC Smash Bros. And a lot of people love that kind of stuff, and it's free to play. So
it's a fun game too.
Yeah, definitely. I'm hoping that they have more customization down the road. I mean, obviously it's stuff locked in battle passes, but I'm hoping that as like the years come by, they give you more varieties. Like, I don't know, like the Dark Knight type style for Batman would be like a really good example. That'd be really fun to pick up. But I think that one, just because it's free, good solid gameplay, and like you said, more focused on competitive head-to-head combat.
Yeah, and I'm just going to jump right off of all of that and say that I agree. That's my personal pick.
Oh,
Multiverses. Player
mhm.
first games, they came out the gate with a banger with that one.
Yeah,
Very
definitely.
popular. Somewhat buggy, but it was, like you said, free to play.
Mhm.
Huge success. Amazing roster and actually amazing post-launch support.
Yeah.
So I think that is a strong choice for the winner for this category. But my popular pick, I think, is going to be JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle Royale.
Yeah. JoJo's, games have been scattered throughout the years. There's like periods where there's a couple back to back, but then they have these droughts where you just don't hear from them in a while. And this one kind of crept up, and I'm kind of interested to see that on the listing.
Yeah, me too. And there's a podcast I listen to, and they talk about the JoJo game sometimes. And from what I hear, this is a pretty good fighting game. So I just think Multiverses is a little too actually niche and buggy because it's almost a mascot platform fighter, which is actually not respected among fighting games
Mm-hmm.
in reality, even though you kind of think they would be. But I'm trying to think of Evo in my mind right now. Which of these are going to be at Evo? I don't really know because I'm not into Evo like that. But I would say the popular vote's going to be between the King of Fighters and JoJo's Bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to 50-50 shot here, shot in the dark, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this is another kind of like interpretation of it. I like how this could go either way.
I agree. And that's going to be the theme for, I guess, this next category, Best RPG.
All right.
For the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences.
Okay. Now,
Do I have some thoughts on this one? Yes, I do. Some big thoughts as I write down which ones I picked.
yeah.
Which one is you? Let's go with this. Which one's your popular vote?
Popular vote. I know the funny thing about these games, they can be nominated for multiple awards, and I kind of want to shy away from it only because these other these they look cool, but I think popular is going to be Elden Ring.
Okay, yeah, me too. I don't even
Okay.
need to explain it.
Nope. Yeah, role playing. I mean, literally. But I guess ones that I like. I guess I resonate with Pokemon Legends Arceus. I never played it, but I feel like that would be the nice, alternate timeline for Diamond and Pearl. Like, oh well,
Yeah, that's true.
Dawn and the other character don't know his name, but it's like, hey, familiar characters, but new setup. And I think I resonate with that better with the other ones. They're all looking like good games. I've heard of Xenoblade Chronicles a lot, but that's going to be my choices.
I've heard every single one of these are really good.
Yeah, no doubt.
I've wanted to jump into Triangle Strategy.
Okay.
I haven't. I would still like to, but my personal pick is also Pokemon.
Okay.
So we have the same picks for this one.
Yeah.
I actually haven't played Pokemon Legends Arceus, but I'm obviously biased towards Pokemon. I don't think it's going to win at all because looking at the description, best game designed with rich player character customization, that eliminates Pokemon. And progression, including massively multiplayer experiences.
Yeah.
Really, Pokemon Legends Arceus doesn't fit that description whatsoever.
Not necessarily.
Pretty much Elden Ring fits that perfectly, but I'm hoping to see Triangle Strategy in there because I know it was actually a really, highly rated game. And then also, I don't know a lot about Xenoblade Chronicles 3, but I know that was, highly anticipated and highly rated.
Yeah, well praised.
So, yeah, very well praised. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Going on to Best Action Adventure Game. One of my favorite genres ever. So for the Best Action Adventure Game, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving.
Yes, this is definitely a good topic. I like this one. This,
Are you doubling down? Because I'm doubling down.
not necessarily. I want to say my personal pick is God of War Ragnarok. I love that game. It's a phenomenal experience. I kind of think that, however, Horizon is going to be popular pick in terms of this action adventure category.
You're a smart man, Mr. Smith.
I have my moments.
So I doubled down on Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, interesting.
So let's just kind of real quick dismiss the other ones. Plague Tale Requiem, I think, is too linear for the adventure aspect. Same thing with Tunic, even though Tunic is a adventure game and it actually does fit this category very well.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think Tunic is going to get looked over.
Unfortunately.
Stray, I think, is also going to get looked over for this category of the action side. It's a great adventure game.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's going to be there for the action. God of War, I actually think, is a little bit too linear for this anyways. I think Horizon Forbidden West is pretty much the perfect action and adventure game when you consider the definition, so that's why I'm doubling down. And I think we'll both have more to say on, a few of these nominees later on.
Back up.
They'll definitely be coming back up. So moving off of action and adventure, we can go to best action game. For the best game in the action genre, focused primarily on combat.
Ooh, this is an interesting one. Some of these are repeats from before, and that's perfectly fine. Are you
going to be consistent? Is my question.
I don't know. I mean, primarily on combat, and combat can be different, interpretations. But for me, I want to say this is probably going to be a double down on Bayonetta 3.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That actually... okay. You might pull ahead on points here. That's
maybe
smart.
But Bayonetta 3, like my reasoning on this, Bayonetta series just is heavily inspired by Devil May Cry and combat. I mean, like the whole concept of the game is like you kill enemies in stylish, maneuvers, and then the intermission, like when you're moving to a spot somewhere else, is very short. So at its core, I feel like it's primarily combat based, and people, there's some controversy around certain things involving Bayonetta 3, but in terms of its core gameplay, I feel like I resonate with that better with the theme of the category, and I just feel like it's a popular pick that people are going to, cling on to.
That's a very good pick from you. Mm-hmm. I think it's a very good pick. You're going to get some points for that, probably. You're probably going to get 4 total.
I think maybe 2. I can expect 2. We'll see how that...
Oh, you doubled down, so you got to get 4.
Oh, yeah, I did double down. Yeah, all or none. Yeah, so...
I thought you were going to pick Sifu as a second one, which is, I think, the popular pick for this. I think Sifu.
It could be. I mean, it definitely is action. Don't get me wrong, but I told you before about my stance on fighting games. That's why I picked Sifu for that. Action games, it's interesting, but I think Bayonetta hits that action, I guess, rush a little better than Sifu.
There is one game on here that I think was very surprising and is a better action game, which is TMNT Shredder's Revenge.
That's definitely a reasonable one. That's like a fits action because,
Exactly, yes.
You're beating up hordes of enemies. It doesn't get more action-packed than that.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. With the amount of mayhem going on the screen with, you can have up to a total of 8 people. It's a great co-op experience to where you can just, run through the game. Yeah. I guess not necessarily, fighting like you do in Sifu with direct hand-to-hand combat or whatever, but like you can use all the different abilities and combos, which I think lends itself to the action genre, which is why I think Bayonetta 3 is a solid pick. So I think it's actually between TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, and Bayonetta 3. So this is going to be a very interesting
Yeah,
category.
I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, definitely.
All right, so for the rest of this show up until the end, let's kind of give our quick picks up until the top 3, because the rest here are kind of not less important categories, but categories that are definitely, they don't need as much explanation.
Okay.
Like the next one we're going to, best VR game. For the best game experience, playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. What's your pick?
This is a double down on Bone Lab. I actually played Bone Lab. Compared to the other ones, this feels like the best VR experience in my opinion.
I'm gonna have to halfway agree with you. That's gonna be I think the popular pick, but my personal pick is the sus pick. So, Among Us.
Someone's kind of sus. Anywho,
I just have to. That's bias.
Yeah, understandable.
Actually, shout out to Moss Book 2. I can't wait to get PSVR 2 so I can play the Moss series.
Yeah,
game looks awesome.
Okay.
Also, Bone Lab's solid pick. You're right.
Yeah,
you're just right.
We'll see.
All right. Innovation and accessibility. Great category. I love they have it on here. Recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. What's your pick?
Okay, so I see it. Kind of interesting choices here, but I'm gonna say The Quarry, personal pick.
Okay.
And then Last of Us Part 1 for popular pick.
All right. Well, just to piggyback off you, Last of Us Part 1, I'm doubling down on because of Naughty Dog specifically. I think just them as a developer, super, forward-thinking in accessibility. Also, I played The Quarry. My biggest complaints with The Quarry are the accessibility features.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Now, this is definitely an interesting one. I never played The Quarry in particular, but I just felt like
confused. Yeah, I'm just confused as to why they have it. I mean, I guess because the jump from Until Dawn and whatnot to The Quarry, they did add a lot of accessibility features, but not enough compared to The Last of Us Part 1. I mean, it's just, I don't even see how any of these will compete to The Last of Us Part 1, but I see The Last of Us Part 1 not even winning because it's a remake, so we'll see.
Yeah, and I think accessibility is kind of more of like, for people with disabilities or just conditions that make playing it harder. It just kind of narrows the gap. I just feel like The Quarry is more of an interactive novel, which is why I don't feel like it needs as much tweaking.
You might pull through on that one. We'll see.
Definitely. Yep, let's keep things moving.
Yep, best community support. Recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates, patches.
Ooh, this one.
Are we both going to double down?
You know what? I think I'm going to double down.
What are we doubling down on?
Yeah, I'm just get on 3. 1, 2, 3. No Man's Sky.
Fortnite. Oh, come on, man.
Listen, this is
explain your wrong reasoning.
Okay, this is going by community support. Like, as of launch, No Man's Sky was horrendous.
It won last year. It can't win 2 years in a row, Andy.
You never know. This is one of the things. You have games that have, consecutive winner of this category. I mean, it's possible, but I just feel like No Man's Sky versus Fortnite is an interesting one because Fortnite does have an open community, but I feel like that's just because they're a live service game that focuses on, being active for its people.
That's true.
No Man's Sky is one of those, like, we're
biggest
sorry.
comeback story in gaming.
Yeah, it's like, we're sorry if we messed up. I don't think we'll ever hit Game of the Year, but we want to show you that we still care about this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people have valid complaints, concerns that you've had people from the team answer that in No Man's Sky. And I think it's like, 74% right now overall in like Metacritic. So it went from a horrible game to a fairly decent game. And it's usually on sale too.
It's a pretty good game too. I mean, I've been playing it since launch. Not consistently, but yeah, you're right. I wish I could have picked that, but Fortnite is Fortnite. It's going to win.
Yeah, Fortnite has definitely got, a backing to it, but I just feel like community support's more or less like a dev team.
That's true.
Showing itself in like
transparency
behind the scenes.
and responsiveness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I saw the new update for Fortnite where they actually add Unreal Engine 5 features, and the game looks absolutely incredible now. It looks insane. So I guess just from the I don't know, continued support. I guess that doesn't mean community
not
support. I don't know. Yeah,
I
right.
mean, it's an improvement, but it's not necessarily like hey, this is what we're working on. If there's like a delay or something going on, I feel
we'll
like
see.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting.
See. Yep.
All right, best mobile game.
Ooh.
You already know what I'm picking.
Yeah, I think you're probably going to double down.
I'm doubling down on Marvel Snap.
Yeah, you know, Caleb has talked a lot about Marvel Snap.
That's all I play.
On and off the podcast.
And off the podcast. That's all I talk about.
This one,
I just got Silver Surfer today, so
this is interesting. I think it's going to be a split for me.
Diablo Immortal.
Pick. Actually, personal pick is Genshin.
You're okay.
Okay, let's just not get into that. But
Weeb alert.
Weeb collecting aside.
Imagine Pokemon, but if it was Weeb.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah, spending money on a game when you could just get it for free. But digressing, Diablo Immortal will be my popular pick because despite its horrible reception, it's free to play at the end of the day, so it plays fairly well. Monetization's horrible, but if you just look at it from a free to play perspective, it's graphically, similar to a Diablo game.
All right.
Yep.
On to our favorite category.
Here we go.
Best indie game. For outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system.
All right, now, this is going to be interesting. I will pick a personal and then what I expect to win. Personal is Cult of the Lamb. And
okay. Let me
Cult of the
mark that
Lamb
down.
is like it's a roguelite. It's like a pseudo management game. Like everything's very simplified, but it's like it takes a bit of everything. It has a lot of hype to it too. I mean, people talked a lot about that, and I played it personally. I think it's a solid pick, but it's probably gotta be Stray, best indie. I mean, like you said before, it just took everyone by surprise, and it's an indie company, Blue 12 Studio, so that one definitely hits a lot of marks, and for it being indie, I think that is going to win.
So, I have a little bit of a shakeup right here.
Interesting. Okay.
My personal one is Stray because that's the one I've played, and I think it is I think personally it is the best indie game on the list.
Mm-hmm.
However, reading the description, a game made outside the traditional publisher system, I think Tunic is probably going to be the popular vote here.
Yeah, and that definitely makes sense. It
just
fits.
Yeah, just because of it fitting outside of the traditional publisher system.
The only reason I didn't pick that in particular is because it holds, an attachment to the Legend of Zelda series, and I see an indie game as something that shakes up a lot of the original molds that you'd expect from, a game that you pick up and play. Definitely not bashing on Tunic anyway. I think it's a really good game, but because it, people look at it and it's like, this is a spiritual successor to The Legend of Zelda, it's tied to a very popular game. So while it might be really good in its, presentation and performance and everything, it still is tethered to some degree by a more mainstream influence.
Yeah, so it might not even be viewed as a true indie.
Yeah, it's definitely indie, but it may not be like
considered
air quote best indie.
Yeah, love that category. I that's always my favorite part of the show. So, Like our previous community support category, next one is Best Ongoing Game.
Mm-hmm.
Awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. I'm just going to go ahead and double down on Fortnite, basically because of what I said earlier with
and
the updates and all of that. So
yeah, that holds true. Now, but this is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to do a split. This is going to be personal pick Fortnite. Actually, no, let me switch it around. Personal pick Destiny 2.
Oh, okay.
Popular vote Fortnite.
Okay.
Now, Destiny
Respect.
2 does have pockets of, I guess, little to no activity in terms of what they're adding, but it does have, PvP into it. So it's also like, consider that Destiny 2 is the closest that Sony PlayStation owners will ever get to a Halo experience. So, in that regard, it almost is, that attachment that continuous development. Like, there is a following for it. I feel like there's enough that evolves over time. Maybe it's not like every week. Maybe it is. Haven't played in a while, but
it is. Yeah, it's definitely impressive. I love hopping back into Destiny 2 every once in a while because it is a great ongoing game.
And it's free to play, which is interesting for a game developed to this caliber. Now there are things that, put you at like a big hindrance, but if you really wanted to spend $0 on it and, just shoot, you could do that. Same with Fortnite, but Fortnite fits more of a mold of Battle Royale and I guess community maps, whereas Destiny 2 can give you a little bit more of everything with things being added as expansions pop out.
Very well said. I actually completely agree on Destiny 2. That was almost my pick, but
it's a good double down of Fortnite. Yeah. I mean, that's a safe bet.
So, yeah, it is. Safe bet for 4 points to pull ahead.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Games for Impact is our next category for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. Honestly, I'm not sure what any one of these games are about. However, I'll just double down on As Dusk Falls because it's really the only game I've seen a trailer for, and it's an Xbox Game Studios games, and votes love to go to the underdog. So
yeah,
that is Xbox.
I admit, I actually had to look up videos, like trailers, real quick before we started this, just to get an idea. So I never actually played any of these, but if I had to pick, I feel like personal vote was As Dusk Falls because it gives you that Walking Dead atmosphere. Just the style is really cool. It looks really nice, but my actual vote looks like it goes to A Memoir Blue. Like, from what I've seen, it's about this woman who like weaves in and out between like 2D animated renditions of, I guess, like a woman and her daughter, and it's like the woman seeing the daughter through various points of her life. I feel like that's going to be like one of those like heartstring pulling games, and a lot of these other games do look like they'll fit that, but I think there's just something about people. I'm sure there's people who can relate to just being like having a single parent in their life and just being like them versus the world. I feel like that's going to hit that stride.
Yeah, I love it. You know more about these games than I do. So
yeah, just by 10 minutes of watching trailers.
Exactly. You're a scholar now. So
there we go. I'll take
next
my
category.
Degree.
Best performance. I love this category, and I love these nominees. So awarded to an individual for voice over acting, motion, and or performance capture.
Ooh, this is going to be an interesting one.
I know my personal.
Yeah. Now, I unfortunately have to admit Immortality because I've never actually played it. But going with the other four, this is... I think the question would be, are we saying overall, or are we just saying as of current, like within the next year or two? Because at least 4 of them have had at least a predecessor game, and that has had varied opinions for that. I guess it depends on how you want to look at it.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I guess it's just going to say for game year, so we're just going to assume for the beginning of 22 to the end of 22, just to play it safe. If that's the case, then I am going to have to go with a double down, actually, on Sonny Suljic.
Oh, wow.
I feel like Christopher Judge, don't get me wrong, is phenomenal as, the older Kratos, but what is it? The previous Kratos, just like I feel like a more attachment towards, but the Atreus, Sonny, I think he hit it out of the park with just portraying the frustrations of being with a strict dad, also wanting to like break free, but not like leave his dad, behind. But I think he played the duality very well. Of them, of the two, I just feel like Atreus has more potential to grow, and I feel like that performance is, done phenomenally.
I agree with you. I actually wish I could change my votes to Atreus, Sonny Suljic.
Yeah.
However, my personal pick is Christopher Judge. I think he kills it. Obviously, we don't even need to go into his performance. All of us know how amazing Christopher Judge is as Kratos.
No doubt. Great performance.
Now, the shot in the dark is the popular vote, which I am going to say Ashley Birch as Aloy.
Okay, yeah, that definitely makes sense. Aloy's been an interesting one. I never actually got to finish the second one, but I played through all the first one, and yeah, I think that definitely makes sense.
So here's my three reasonings for that.
Mm-hmm.
Almost doubled down on it.
Yeah.
The winner last year was kind of influenced me to pick Ashley Birch.
Yeah.
For also motion capture and performance capture, I think Aloy in Horizon Forbidden West is probably more physically expressive than any one of these. And then also the lines of dialogue. I don't know if she has more lines of dialogue than Christopher Judge or Sonny Suljic or whoever else.
Yeah.
But with just how massive the open world is and all of the people she talks to and the just the amount of dialogue, I'm going to go with her as a popular vote.
Yeah, and we do have a lot of options like dialogue branching paths. I don't think they make a big impact on the game, but different, remarks and stuff like that definitely plays in, her as a performance.
Yes, and I love Horizon Forbidden West, the Horizon series. So, All right, next category: best audio design. Recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. So I'm gonna throw it to you. Give me your personal vote and then your popular vote.
Yeah, now audio design, I think, kind of is a broad theme.
It is, yeah, definitely. Look at this category. I mean, this is very broad.
Interesting. Yeah, it covers a lot of bases, but I might go with personal pick Elden Ring, expected pick Call of Duty.
Okay, we have very different picks. So quickly explain that.
Elden Ring, obviously, it just takes a fantasy atmosphere, manifests it into something tangible. I think if you could perform something like that, that deserves merit for, having that audio design. But
for the fantasy aspect and then the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
I mean, yeah, it's his best in-game audio and sound design. So designing the sound for Elden Ring, I mean, I feel like is a very monumental task that they've pulled off very well. But getting the popular pick for Call of Duty, from what I played, it feels realistic enough. I mean, obviously it's not, but it sounds, immersive. I have the Pulse 3D PS5 headset, so the sound quality on that is superb. And it feels like the game delivers that particular, you want to call it, performance.
Solid pick. And then just to explain audio design for a second, I obviously see this as in-game sound effects, not
Okay.
necessarily any kind of music or scoring. That's
Mhm.
actually the next category. But for the sound effects, my personal is Horizon Forbidden West, just because of the sounds of the dinosaurs and the weapons,
Mhm.
and just that tech within that world. I don't want to give any spoilers, but
Yeah.
very interesting sound design. However, I am 99% sure the popular vote is going to be Gran Turismo 7.
Mhm.
From everything I've seen of the sound effects from the cars, from the engine to the way the different tires sound on different tracks, the tires will give off different sound if it's raining and the track's wet. I mean,
Yeah.
the
That's responsive, and that's how it should be.
it goes down to the very, very minute details
Mhm.
in the audio design sound effects. So,
Yeah.
all right, that's that category. And then moving on to score soundtracks. For outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack.
All right. Now I'm going to touch upon this. I actually played Metal Hellsinger. Definitely one of those niche games. Have you ever heard of Bullets Per Minute?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Basically, it's inspired heavily by Bullets Per Minute with a more rock-inspired,
Yes.
approach. But I guess if you want to talk about it, it's saying just how it's implementing its music. Best score in music. So, personal pick would be, I would say God of War.
All right. Well, just to
Because
stop you right there, we have the
hmm,
same picks.
okay,
I picked God of War as my personal, and then Metal Hellsinger as
yeah,
the popular, just
yeah,
for the music and soundtrack, like you were saying. So,
yeah,
why'd you pick God of War?
God of War, because it takes, inspiration from the different themes. Like, obviously, it's in a Norse theme, but
Yeah.
there are moments where you have like the orchestra and like the performance, like have Greek undertones, like for Kratos' past, and I really like how things blend in the seamless, like assembly of music. It just gives you like an immersive feeling. Metal Hellsinger is because um, the one thing about the game in particular, it's got like a combo system, which is like a multiplier. If you do better on it, the music progressively gets better. So I think the inclusion of how it's put in there fits that mark, and it's a music um, oriented game. So obviously the whole purpose of the game is to shoot, but to
Yes.
music.
I.
And plus, they do have PC custom music as a workaround.
Oh wow! I didn't even know that. I guarantee you that's what's going to win it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's weird because you do have to do some like get some extra programs, but you technically can set it up to your own music if you wanted to.
You are right about that. So, almost in the top three.
Yeah.
So, top four, fourth category, best art direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation.
Now you know what? This is interesting.
Very interesting.
I think this is going to be a double down on me,
Go ahead.
and
What is it?
double down on Scorn.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, this is a spicy one, and
That's
I'm
a
gonna split
spicy
myself.
one. Okay.
Okay, so all these other games have an overall gameplay performance that makes them very well. Scorn, I never actually played it, but I watched a lot of like the cutscenes because it really drew me. Like I was intrigued by it, and I think that's part of.
Visually stunning.
Yes, that is one of the biggest things. You
Almost picked
take,
it. Yeah.
yeah, it takes the concept of flesh and machine, morphs it into this unrecognizable blend. It's grotesque body horror in a sense, and like the atmosphere, as bleak as it feels alive, and I think that's like what they were going with, the direction of it being the blurred line between living and not living, which is a very
Yes.
phenomenal interpretation.
Very artistically. I mean, like mind-boggling.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
if you were just saying like best art, like I guess presentation, like what looks the most artistic, you would probably say Horizon Forbidden West because it has a lot more vibrant colors and just hits a lot more variation. But Scorn just hits that direction, the way the game's theme is portrayed.
All right, so brings me to mine. In this category, mark this down.
Uh-huh.
Remember it if I'm wrong. This
Okay.
will 100% be won by Elden Ring.
Okay, that definitely makes sense. I could see that, like, kind of how I said before about the whole audio being, manifested. I
Yeah.
think, I think art direction, just taking something that normally wouldn't exist and giving it breath. That's a solid pick.
Now, that's not my personal. My personal is actually Stray.
Oh,
And you just have to play it to see what I'm saying.
That's understandable. I
It
see.
it is very atmospheric
Yeah,
because of the presentation and like what it says here in the description, the technical achievement in artistic design and animation.
yeah.
That's just my personal. Obviously, I believe Elden Ring will 100% win this category.
Yeah, that's solid. And the only reason why I didn't pick Stray is because when they say like design, you do have the robots, which are definitely unique. I think it's hard to put that as like, I mean, like the cat definitely is the main focus of the game. And while you have stuff going on in the background, and that does have an influence on the game's direction, I kind of want to see it as like a big bundle package of like everything being the theme. Like it's more like a cat in a very colorful environment versus you as this in Scorn, like this humanoid thing. Are you a part of this world? Are you defecting from it? It's hard to tell, but I guess that's just going off a bit about that.
That is right. So that will break us into top 3.
Ooh, okay.
I believe, as I'm scrolling through the categories.
Yeah, there's 3 left.
Yes, best narrative. I love narrative games.
Okay, that's
Another one of
your
my favorite
specialty.
categories. Yes, for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game.
Mm-hmm. Woof. I'll let you pick this one. Like, let's hear you go with this one first.
All right, I think my personal pick is God of War Ragnarok.
Okay.
Obviously, for its narrative.
Yeah.
That's all I could really say about it.
Yeah.
Storytelling. That's it.
Yeah.
However,
definitely.
my popular pick is going to be A Plague Tale Requiem.
Yeah, that is interesting to hear.
Yes, because it is I think it's between Plague Tale Immortality and Ragnarok. My personal pick is going to be Ragnarok because of the storytelling. Plague Tale Requiem also came out the gate hot. I think it's only going to be beaten by Ragnarok, but there's a chance that the popular vote could say that Requiem had a better narrative and storytelling element to it. I haven't played it. I have it downloaded. I really want to play it. I just haven't had the time yet. So that I'm going to split it between those two.
I think we're very similar, but personal pick is I think where we both align on that. God of War Ragnarok just hits a lot of strides. I love it. Phenomenal story. Like I said before, the development of Atreus. But I think my actual win is going to go towards Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Now, I've watched a lot of the cinematics for Requiem, and obviously it does have a very strong narrative, and it will draw you in. I just think that Horizon has more of more to offer than Plague Tale, because Plague Tale is somewhat linear, and there is like almost a duality in the past and the present. Obviously, since this game's been out for a while, I'm just going to spoil the part of the first game. What you think is, currently the past is actually the future.
Yes.
And in the past is
you might be right actually about because of the storytelling aspects. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
That's a good pick.
storytelling from two parallel scenarios, especially when you have your I forget what it's called, Echo, I think, the device that she uses.
Oh yeah, what's that called?
I mean, I'm sure we could look it up, but that's just besides the point. Point is, it lets you observe events from the past,
yeah, I can't think
which
right
is
now.
also, something that relates to things that transpire currently. So I think because it has two layers of storytelling, I think that gets my what I expect to win.
All right, and then what was your personal?
Personal was Ragnarok, and I went a bit about that.
Okay, I was writing something for our next category, which is best game direction.
Yeah,
Awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Very interesting category.
yeah,
I think this is unanimous right here.
yeah. I think so too. Game direction. Well, actually, it might not be.
I'm doubling down.
This one is going to be probably a split.
Okay.
Okay, so obviously creative vision, innovation in game direction and design. I want to say personal is going to be Stray.
Okay.
And then what I expect to win is going to be Elden Ring.
Okay. What I expect and what my personal is Elden Ring for sure, because specifically with game direction, there is no other game on this list that has innovated the direction and design of their game more so than Elden Ring. With the open world and everything about Elden, I can't see Elden Ring not sweeping this. I'll go all in.
I'm a bit biased, and the only thing why I say that is because I think we'll talk about this coming up in the game of the year, the finale. So I'll save my following point for that.
Yeah, so a lot of what we've been saying has been leading us to our reasonings for game of the year. So, without further ado,
of course, the moment we've all been waiting for.
The final category. Game of the Year 2022. Yes. Recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields.
All right, now, I will say this has got to be, I talked about this before. Personal is going to be God of War Ragnarok. I feel like when it comes to the story, the combat, the experiences that you have, and just everything put into it, I've resonated with the God of War series far more than I have with all the other candidates. However, I think Game of the Year is going to go to Elden Ring because, and this is kind of going back to the category before about direction. From Software, the Dark Souls community is huge, and people know about it even if they've never played it to some degree. And even though the Dark Souls community has pretty much been linear, the open world aspect and taking that layer that's never been done for that community is astronomical. And I think I said this before, but the change of the experience itself really helps define Game of the Year, because Game of the Year is something that stands out compared to the rest. So Ragnarok, while I think is probably my favorite game, it holds a formula very similar to the previous game, so it doesn't have as much of a shift as you would expect. And the previous game was 2018, but between that those two games, the shift adds more, but it feels kind of linear. Elden Ring takes it on a more proportionate level, and that's why I think those are my choices.
I have the same votes as you. My personal is God of War Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
And then Game of the Year, 2022 will be Elden Ring. There is no other game this year that has accomplished what Elden Ring has accomplished, let alone my feelings for it. Elden Ring, not my favorite game this year. I actually like Stray more than Elden Ring. I like God of War more than Elden Ring. I have more hours put into Elden Ring than any other game on this list. But I'm not a fan. But there's no other game this year that did what Elden Ring accomplished.
Yeah, I think you messed up a bit there. You said you put more hours into Elden Ring.
No, I did.
You did? You actually played it.
I put more hours into Elden Ring than any other game on this list, and I just don't like it. I tried. I tried to get into it, but that's the thing. A lot of people this year jumped into Elden Ring that would have never jumped into any Souls games because of what Elden Ring was able
to do.
Not necessarily to do, but what we were able to do within Elden Ring.
Yeah.
The almost sandbox experience for a Souls-like game with the design innovations, with the co-op innovations, specifically with the, open world environments, was something that was that shock factor that you were just talking about. The shock factor with Elden Ring, it came out in February, but it's going to leave a lasting, impression that is a bigger impression than something like God of War left that just came out, because of the jump Elden Ring had from the previous Souls game compared to the jump God of War had from the previous God of War game.
Yeah.
And then that goes back to the quality. I think God of War is a higher quality game. I think Stray is a higher quality game.
Yeah.
I haven't played Xenoblade or Plague Tale, but I'm sure they're higher quality games. But Elden Ring captured the zeitgeist. So it's going to be Game of the Year.
All right. Now, I think we have a special bonus coming up.
So the bonuses for the game here are the wild card picks.
Yeah.
I want you to go first. So real quickly, I'll explain. We got 3 wild card picks. A high value one where we wager 5 points, a medium value wild card where we wager 3 points, and a low value wild card where we wager only 1 point. So go ahead, whatever order you want.
Okay, now as a disclaimer for the audience listening in, this is stuff that we just kind of came up with, fairly on the spot, but I'll go ahead from lowest to highest, and hopefully this works with the criteria. My low risk card is going to be some sort of guest cameo, and this could be someone, who's popular in the gaming critic community, maybe an actor, actress, someone who had, maybe like Toby Fox, for example, just someone who pops up and is like, oh, I know that they're very popular in the gaming community.
So hold on, popular within the gaming community?
I would say so, because of it being, video game awards or just the game awards, a level of relevancy to, it could be maybe just a cameo overall, I guess, however you want to put that down.
Okay, because they have a lot of people announced already, but you're talking about just kind of a surprise.
Sure, someone that's like not listed on
a shock, oh look, bang, showed up. Okay.
Yeah, like so maybe how sometimes they do like fake scripted,
I know what
scenes
you're saying.
where it's like, oh, hey, this person wasn't supposed to be here, but in reality they were a part of whatever.
Yeah, we have a surprise. Yeah, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Like Hideo showing up at the Xbox event.
Yeah, something that's like, wait a minute, that's not supposed to happen for the viewers, but in the, I guess in the Game Awards, it's like, we'll wait for towards the end or something.
Safe bet.
Yeah, safe bet. Okay, mid risk. Some sort of new IP reveal, something where they're going to have, I guess, a company talk about something like a new game, a new universe, so to speak, something. Hey, we're working on this because, in honor of this game being nominated, we're going to take that energy and put it into, I guess, this new theme.
Okay, so new IP reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then this is a high-risk one. This is probably not going to happen, but I'll try it anyway. Some sort of cosplay event.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, something where it's like, okay, we have people registered for this, and we're gonna do like a quick judging of like the best cosplay overall, almost like not Comic-Con level, but something relevant to the games. Maybe like I don't know, maybe someone doing like an Atreus costume or something like that. Just off the top of my head.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely see them showing some cards of like, okay, here's an amazing Kratos and Atreus cosplay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm writing that down. All right, so mine low value wild card pick would be Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League release date trailer.
Oh, that's actually a really good one. Something.
Yeah. So they've shown a story trailer, a gameplay trailer, reveal trailer. They don't have a release date trailer. It's supposed to come out next year, and I think that's safe because Rocksteady is probably ready to show this thing. It's a third party. I don't think it would be smart to suggest any first party things going on with the ABK dilemma going on right now. But
right.
That's my guess for my low value wild pick.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
All right, my mid value wild card pick, where I'm wagering 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
Jedi Survivor gameplay reveal.
Oh, okay. All right, so you're taking a more specific approach with your.
I'm being specific because this is just what I'm doing. At confidence, if I lose my points, I lose my points.
Sure,
whatever. But they had a teaser trailer about a month ago.
I remember that.
The game looks like it's moving pretty, good.
Yeah.
I think this is probably the best place to reveal the gameplay.
Yeah, so, definitely an interesting
I'll wager 3 points with that.
All right. Now for the high risk.
High value. I'll wager 5 points on this one. This might cost me the game.
Okay.
Hideo Kojima reveals his next video game.
Wow. So that actually would get me that too out there on low and medium.
Yes.
So that's an interesting gamble. So for your 5 points, I would gain 4 if that were to, happen.
Yes.
That's an interesting one for sure.
Okay, so I think I'm not being specific on whether it's Death Stranding 2 or if it's Overdose.
Maybe a Metal Gear.
No. So actually I was going to put as my low value, I think Konami's going to show up with some kind of Metal Gear collection thing, but I'm never going to put I'm not going to ever wager points on that.
I would never do something as narrow as that. Yeah.
But Hideo Kojima's next game, whether it's, this is where it gets a little broad, even though that is specific. It's either going to be Death Stranding 2 or Overdose, one of the two. But either way, Kojima is confirmed to be there, I believe, like just hosting something. It's not saying that he's going to reveal anything, but I believe he's going to reveal his next game there because he's also friends with Keighley and he's third party. So, who knows what's going to happen, but
exactly.
I'll wager 5 points on it.
Sure. Yeah, this is very interesting. I think we've covered a lot of the Game Awards, and I like our different interpretations for what made each category work.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and make sure I get the finite list down, and then I'll be watching as the awards go by, ranking it for us, and then also hoping my wildcard picks show up so I can get some points. But
yeah, I mean, that could be like you said, what makes it or breaks it. You might have like a losing streak, or maybe not losing streak, but just be far behind, but have that one clutch wild card make the big difference.
5 points, yeah. That's huge.
Maybe I'll just lose like 3 points because whoops.
Yeah, because imagine if you lose your fifth one and I get my fifth one. That's 10 points for me.
So that's how, unpredictable this could end up being.
All right, I like it. So, I think that's comprehensive enough. So, with that, what's your final thoughts on the Game Awards?
Yeah, I mean, everything except for content creator has my support. And,
exactly, I agree.
And I will say, I do feel a little bit bad for missing out esports. I mean, I'm not aggressive in those categories, but it's just for a certain audience that we, I guess, are working around. I
agree. Esports is lame.
What?
That's my final thoughts. Final thoughts. Esports.
Biased much.
Esports lame. No,
Okay.
I'm excited. I love the Game Awards. I think Jeff Keighley's doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
I love what he's doing because it brings awareness and awards and credit to the people that are working hard on these games. That this is pretty much the only time of year where it gets into the mainstream, because things like the DICE Awards, not a lot of people pay attention to that. A lot of people don't pay attention to GDC or TGS or anything like that. So this is the mainstream thing, all thanks to Jeff Keighley, this and Summer Games Fest. So I'm excited for it. Can't wait to see how bad I beat you in this.
Okay.
And that's about it till next time. We're going to probably come back with an episode shortly after where we can discuss, everything that's happened. So
yeah, and then tally everything up. Yeah.
Tally it up. So yeah, this is the Senate Podcast. And like I said from the top, check us out on all of the streaming platforms, and make sure you listen. Make sure you follow and subscribe on what you can, because we're trying to get our listeners up. So thanks for the support and the listen. Share it. Also, we have a Discord, the Senate Discord. I'll have links in the description for the social medias, our Linktree that has the Discord and YouTube and all of that. So, all right, Andy, it's been nice having you on. It's been nice.
Glad to be a part of the show.
Yeah, it's been nice. Beating you. I already know I'm going to beat you. So
listen, you're getting ahead of yourself here. Just because you have some good picks doesn't guarantee anything.
It guarantees your surrender.
It guarantees your downfall.